Welcome once again, guys. This is Cat's Pajamas.
And this is Pain User.
And we are back now for game number 3 of the IPL Season 2 Qualifier Round of 16 between our Teal Terran player down here at the bottom right-hand corner of Tal'Darim Altar. It is Beastyqt. His opponent here at the top left-hand corner, and currently up 2-0, is our Red Terran player, roxkisBratOK. And I just want to let you guys know that it's an absolute pleasure being here at IGN and casting these IPL Qualifier matches. We will be casting a lot of IPL Season 2 as well. If you guys ever want to know when we are casting together, be sure to check us out on Twitter. You can find me at CatsPajamasSC2.
And you can find me at PainUser. And yes, it is a pleasure casting these games here at IGN. I hope you guys all appreciate it. I know we're having a good time, and we love these games, and we love StarCraft. So stay tuned and check out our Twitters if you ever want any updates or want to know when we're casting.
And we're going to jump right into the match here. Now, this is Tal'Darim, of course, the map that is near and dear to my heart. I love it because I am the StarCraft viewer, I guess, that goes for a lot of cheap entertainment as well. The 4 base in under 10 minutes is always warms the cockles of my casting heart whenever I see something like that. Tal'Darim, of course, and usually ends up lending itself to very ridiculous macro matches. But I had this conversation with Chinook a few days ago as well during a Select versus Kiwikaki match that I did, and the larger the map, the less you expect cheese, but sometimes the more effective it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost all the builds on a map like this are contoured for heavy macro play. You're going to see a lot of 1-racks fast expanding. You're going to see just a lot of fast expanding in general from every race. Sometimes you'll even see the occasional Nexus first or the occasional Command Center first. And if it's a situation like that, yeah, cheese is, A, it's going to be very unexpected, and B, it can be even more potent because you know your opponent is going to be playing that specific style. But that being said, most cheese is all in to begin with, but cheese on a map like this is even more all in than all in. You're either winning or losing. Like, it is a 100% coin flip. There's no transitioning out of it, because the lead that your opponent is going to get on you, especially on a map this big after some sort of failed cheese, I mean, it's irrecoverable unless you do a ton of damage. So on other maps, when you do cheese, you can sometimes transition out of it and just play a standard game without committing too many resources.
Yeah, absolutely, and the walk distance is just so long here. It would take so enormously long to reinforce. It looks like BratOK is actually going after the same build that we've seen. Hey, if it's worked... Uh-oh, never mind. There it is, the Tech Lab first. Oh, so double Tech Lab coming out of Mr. BratOK. They're opening with a Reaper here, and he has gone ahead and stationed a couple of Marines down at the front of the choke to his natural. So Tech Lab first, just a 1-racks Reaper expand out of Beastyqt, and we actually have double Reaper production to start the match here out of BratOK. Very interesting decision.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing some kind of early pressure here with these 2 Marines and 2 Reapers. The second Reaper going to follow up, but keep in mind, Beastyqt has made a Reaper. He does have that at the front of his base. Hopefully he uses it defensively. If Beastyqt's Reaper gets picked off, he could be in a ton of trouble. He is just going to post that at the Xel'Naga Tower for now, and probably going to go check another Xel'Naga Tower. BratOK did have that Marine queued to go check out Beastyqt's Xel'Naga Tower, but it looks like he stopped that command. Maybe going to send that Reaper over there. I don't really know what BratOK is up to right now. He's sending his Reapers around the edge of the map, and maybe he's going to try and sneak both of those Reapers into the main, and I could see that being very effective. They could do a tremendous amount of damage, and I don't think Beastyqt is ready for anything like that, nor has he scouted these Tech Labs on the Raxes, because his Reaper is busy maintaining the Xel'Naga Towers. So, really interested to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, definitely, and it looks like Beastyqt is just changing up his strategy overall anyway. We do have the Marines sitting there over at the southern Xel'Naga Tower, and a few more units making their way down. That's 3 Reapers that are going to start walking their way in. It looks like 1 Reaper was able to pick off the Marine that was stationed there at the Xel'Naga Tower, and BratOK is now going to move in, and he is going to one-shot quite a few SCVs here. 3 SCVs going down immediately. This is a lot of damage that's going to be done, and that Hellion is also light as well, so will take a lot of damage from the Reapers, but of course it wasn't attacked, and that Hellion consequently also does tons of damage against light units as well, so those Reapers fell relatively quickly. Reaper making his way back in. A lot of economic damage was done, do not get me wrong. If we take a look at the unit counting station, we have a 5-worker advantage for BratOK at this time, but of course Beastyqt does have a little bit more well-developed tech. He is researching that Blue Flame Hellion, queuing up for a big drop, it appears, with that medevac just about to pop out of that starport.
Yeah, he is pretty far ahead on tech at this point because BratOK had to invest all that early gas on those Reapers. They are only 50 gas, but they're a heavy gas investment at that point in the game. You'd think that it's not that big of a deal, but it really does add up, and building those initial Reapers takes time, it takes money, it takes effort, and he's just now getting his factory on that tech lab, so he's going to be well behind in the tech right now. And we do have Pre-Igniter just about to finish for Beastyqt right now, and he might be able to return the favor in a little bit here with that first medevac.
Absolutely, and he's making his way across the map right now. Let's take a look and see what BratOK has to defend against this. The short answer is nothing. He has a few Marines that are sitting back inside of his main at this time, and he's actually rallying those inside of his base, so he kind of does suspect that something is going to be heading his way. 4th Hellion making its way up. It's going to meet this medevac here as that medevac runs around the side, but we're still talking about the potential of a lot of damage being done. Missile turrets going up now. Beastyqt actually transitioning over to cloaked Banshees to follow up this harassment. Ooh, he does see that missile turret. He's going to go ahead and drop down outside of that. There are the first few Blue Flame Hellions. Immediately, BratOK decides to move away. A couple of trees lighting themselves on fire. And here comes Beastyqt. Is he going to be able to get through with that Blue Flame Hellion? He is! Oh, takes down a couple more SCVs with that as well. A lot of damage being done. This Hellion being so effective after having gone through there. My God, that just got a lot of kills. Very nice job there out of Beastyqt.
Yeah, that is what Blue Flame Hellions do best. They roast mining units very well. And I'm surprised he didn't send the medevac around. It's going back in for a second taste right now. I think if he had queued that medevac around and headed to the main and then dropped off those additional 2 Hellions right away and then used all 3 to pinch all of the SCVs that were in the main right there, because keep in mind, BratOK pulled all the SCVs from his naturals, so that was the jackpot right there. That was all of his SCVs in the main, but it looks like he's going to go in for round 2 right here. He's pulling his SCVs already preemptively, but he is going to lose more SCVs right now. Actually, great job by BratOK right there. Minimized that, was able to mitigate that damage, only took about 3 additional SCV losses, but still, we are at 29 to 40 SCVs right now. BratOK getting picked apart a little bit right here. And largely, I think this boils down to the fact that he tried to do that harassment with those early Reapers, but when it really boils down to it, 3 Reapers in the early game is a much bigger investment than Pre-Igniter Hellions in the mid game, especially when you already have your factory up earlier. And now, going in with this cloaked Banshee, probably going to be able to do some serious damage here. I don't think BratOK is ready for this. He has 1 missile turret at his natural behind the mineral line. I don't know if he has one at his main. I don't think so. There is no missile turret at the main, so let's check the scanner energy on both of those orbital commands. He has 1 scan, so he's really going to have to make that count. I don't think Beastyqt is going to let him just kill that Banshee without paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely, and that Banshee is going to make its way in, and everything that Beastyqt has done has been cost-effective, even if BratOK did manage to pull away with mitigating that damage, as you mentioned before. There is the cloak goes down. A scan is prepared, and it looks like Beastyqt is smartly going to run away. Oh, he is going to pick off a couple of Marines right now. It does not look like BratOK wants to go ahead and use that scan at the moment, and this Banshee is going to rack up the kills. Already 11 here for the time being. Going to get himself a 12th before that scan goes down. There is the scan. The Banshee does die, but so much damage done. Unit counting station suggests now that Beastyqt is up by 26 workers. That is huge at this stage in the game.
And we do have a medevac with 2 Blue Flame Hellions from BratOK now. So just a little bit of back and forth, tit-for-tat harass from both these players. BratOK not following it up with the Cloak Banshee, however. That did work out for Beastyqt. It worked wonders. He also has 2 NG bays getting double upgrades right now, but these Hellions are probably going to be able to do some considerable damage. I don't think he's noticed yet, and they are in the middle of the mineral line right now, and all those SCVs are stacking up on top of the barracks. I think he accidentally right-clicked on that barracks, losing so many SCVs right now. Let's go back to the unit counting station, and we are at 48 to 35, so able to equalize that harvester disparity a little bit. Not quite back in this 100%, but certainly in a much better position than he was, you know, a minute ago.
Yeah, absolutely. He actually cut that worker disparity in half. And uh-oh, there's a big drop coming in here into the natural. A lot of units are going to land, and there is the rest of that worker disparity is going to go away now. Yes, we see only a 6 worker difference, and a lot of Marines going to die here for Beastyqt. Looks like BratOK is just going to pick himself right back up. Is he going to lose a medevac? No. Does get away. Very nice job of doing so, but again, successful multi-pronged harassment being done there. Couple of Hellions actually didn't get any kills. There's a couple of siege tanks that are stationed over here. So BratOK tried to move in 3 places at once. 2 of those prongs doing a huge amount of damage. Looks like he's going to swing right back around here to the main, though. It looks like a couple of missile turrets are about to be put in place, but that's not going to be in time because here comes BratOK. Now he's going to drop down right on top of the missile turrets, and those SCVs are going to fall. Missile turrets going down as well, and this barracks may very well fall. No, it looks like Beastyqt is actually pulling back in time to go ahead and wait for this. Uh-oh, so many medevacs may fall. No! Wow, BratOK actually gets away with all 3 of those. Only picks off a reactor and a couple of SCVs in the process. Once again, this Hellion has come back, though, sitting just outside, and I do mean just outside, that siege tank range, waiting to do more damage.
I love that from BratOK. That's really cute. Forcing a re-siege right there at the 3rd from Beastyqt. Just another little thing he's going to have to deal with, forcing actions out of your opponent, sucking up his multitasking ability. And right now we are at a little bit of a lull in the harassment game. Both players relying very heavily on drops right now. We had Blue Flame out of both players. Beastyqt with Cloak Banshees. He actually produced another Banshee out of his starport right now. And is he building a second Banshee at the starport right now? What is coming out of his starport right now? Just to double check. Okay, so he has 1 Banshee waiting at his starport right now. Probably going to use that to harass while he launches a push here. He has been ahead on the harvester count, and he's been continuing to macro up. I think his push timing is going to be relatively soon here. He has accumulated a very large army. He's been upgrading this entire time. BratOK right now, his standing army is looking like... Ooh, 1 sec telephone from BratOK. And it's interesting how the European players do that. Like, you know, they pick up their telephone in the middle of matches all the time. It's pretty funny. In the U.S., you never really see 1 sec telephone. And if you do, some jerk's probably going to start the game after you pause it, to be honest.
Just proving that our European counterparts are that much more well-mannered. So Beastyqt going to make his way to the northern Zelnaga Tower. He is going to start moving out. Let's take a look. Let's take stock, actually, of what both these players' armies are at. We're looking at 6 tanks to 4 now for Beastyqt, 67 Marines to 41. So he is largely up in terms of army overall. Less medevacs to complement that force, but better in a straight-line engagement for the time being. Is BratOK going to be prepared for this? Oh, looks like he may be deciding to move out as well. Scan goes down to see exactly what BratOK has, and BratOK is going to push through. Nonetheless, he is going to meet this force head-on. Beastyqt sieges himself up here as he's dropping his forces in. He's going to do quite a bit of damage. He needs to take out that missile turret. The missile turret does go down, and it looks like BratOK, is he just going to go for a counter push? I think he is. Unless he's going to flank around those forces, he may be looking to force the base trade here.
I don't know if I agree with this at all on a map like this. Beastyqt is going to have so much time to reinforce. He's going to have a few tanks waiting. He's going to have Marines waiting. He has that bunker in position. He's going to be able to pull SCVs. At most, you know, at best, BratOK might be able to force a lift with the natural. Beastyqt killing all the SCVs at the 3rd right there with a few Marines, and he is just pushing right into the main production of BratOK right now. And this is a terrible situation to be in as a Terran player. You never want your production facilities to be camped, and right now they are beyond camped. Beastyqt has an army just waiting, and these siege tanks, I'm almost positive, are going to be able to thwart any kind of counter here from BratOK. Although, very nice elevator onto the siege tanks by BratOK. Going to be able to pick those off, and he might be able to get a little bit more damage done here than I thought was originally possible. But the question is, how is he going to deal with this standing army from Beastyqt, assuming he is able to secure a base trade?
Yeah, Absolutely, Beastyqt is just annihilating all of these supply depots for the time being, so there's going to be no possibility for BratOK to be able to produce anything. All of his structures are lifted at the moment. And see what he's actually pushing into, though. Beastyqt is still producing 7 Marines at a time, but it looks like those were all a little bit misrallied and not really going to do any damage, so he actually is going to force the lift here. However, through all of this, Beastyqt still does have a pretty large advantage in standing army. He has also a large advantage in terms of structures as well. He's a little bit quicker to pick up. He can get his way over to his army, and I think in an engagement between the two forces, Beastyqt is going to be more than fine, and I do think he has the upper hand here moving into the, well, ridiculous endgame that we're about to see.
Yeah, it's going to come down to a little bit of cat and mouse here with their armies, but keep in mind Beastyqt has a very, very superior standing army right now. One thing that would benefit him hugely is if he could land that starport that he's floating right now and possibly produce a Viking, because that would change the whole scheme of things. And BratOK realizes that there's really no way for him to come back from this situation, nothing for him to do. Taps out, throws in the GG, so it is 2-1 right now. It's going to go to a game 4, and I mean, I've got to put my money on BratOK. That was he managed to take a game where he was so far behind right there, and honestly, taking a loss to Blue Flame Hellions like that, followed up with the Cloaked Banshee. I mean, those are rather gimmicky plays. That's not a solid straight up win right there, and he still managed to bring it back and make a game out of it. So, kudos to him for that, and I think he'll be able to bring it back in the next game.
But congratulations are in store for Beastyqt as well. I mean, he was really far down. He's playing on the edge of his seat, decided to completely switch up his strategy, do something a little bit more overtly aggressive. Obviously, it was pretty good compared to what BratOK was doing. You know, he ran in with those initial Reapers to start the game and committed a lot of resources. Like you said, at that stage in the game where you're committing 100 resources to all of those units to really not kill all that many forces, and you left yourself really unprepared to do any sort of defense or anything like that, left him open to that aggression. I don't think that BratOK is going to make the same mistake in the 4th game. I think he's going to play a little bit more safe and standard, especially as he still has, he just has to win 1 out of the next 2 games, and he should be fine.
One thing that was actually very interesting is that BratOK made a mistake that a lot of people make, myself included, is when you have those Reapers in the early game and you see those SCVs, he had 4 out of the 5 SCV kills that he got the entire game. He got those right away, and then he got greedy. Whenever you have 4 Reapers inside of SCVs, you're so tempted to just right-click on them. You can't help it almost. And he lost all 3 of those Reapers to, 3 Marines and a Hellion. He could have easily pulled those out, waited until a little bit later time in the game, maybe snuck them around through the south or to the side. But I think keeping those Reapers alive would have made a big difference. Losing 4 Reapers for 4 SCVs is probably not worth it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, so we're going to move into game number 4 here very soon. We'll see if BratOK can finish Beastyqt off, or if Beastyqt has what it takes to force a rubber match. Don't go anywhere, guys. IPL Season 2 qualifiers coming at you next.